let's go on to how this trio interacts with each
Yeah,
other.
it's very much pretty basic. If you want it more complex, like, during this video at the end, I'm gonna have, like, a link list of all of these accounts if you want to see how they work, as I've seen them on Tumblr. So, that's gonna be at the end, but for the most part, very summarized, that's the word. Summarized. Vulker and Vanya pretty much adopted him as its son, basically.
They
And
hated each other initially because this one was very cocky. He kicked Vanya's door down, stomped in, and asked him if this land was his, and if it wasn't, where was Russia so he could kick his ass and get it back? And that they were kind of at each other's throats for a while. Volker caved because Vanya was being nice to him, and it just went from there.
yep, now they're on very, very good standings, and Vanya introduces as his father, and it's heartwarming in a way.
It is. It's really cute.
Volker with Alexander. Alexander's a dick. He is. He is to everybody. That's gonna be the main theme of this when it comes to Alexander. And Alexander actually came over to the 1P world once. And Volker's like, no. No. Especially if Alexander messed with some of Volker's family. And it's like, no. No, we're not doing this. And so he literally murdered him.
And then burned his body and swept the ashes into the river.
Yep.
That was a messy end. But it basically was a warning. If you ever come back, I'm hunting you down, and I'm gonna do this again until you figure out that I'm always gonna be here.
Da 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 da.
Get the fuck out.
Sam. And we move on to Vanya. We've already explained Volker, but Vanya doesn't like Alexander either. Like, so much, oh my god. It's because he was a little bastard back when he was in the 2P world, and they both interacted together. It just did not mix well.
No, Vanya didn't like him initially because he was kind of possessive of things that didn't belong to him, or he sort of assumed ownership of items that weren't his, and it just sort of snowballed from there.
Yep.
Alexander didn't like the old man because he got in his way on a regular basis and kind of stood in his way of getting what he wanted. And Vanya didn't like him because he was an egotistical little shithead
And
who
shady
would
as
get in
fuck.
the way of everything.
In the early days, especially shady as fuck.
Yeah. This was before water and land rights really became an issue.
Now we move on to Alexander's point of view. He sees Volker as kind of low. He's not really a nation anymore. He's just barely clinging to life. It's like, why are you even here? You're not even useful for anything. Just shoo. It's like, it's sort of stuck on that. Why do you exist? You're below even my states.
He kind of sees Mundi like that in some respects.
We'll go into that later. And we already explained that he does not like Vanya. Holy shit. But nowadays that he's gone, he just really wants his land and the freshwater lakes. He wants those so bad.
He wants like Bakal. So bad.
And without Vanya there, he can't really do anything to get it.
Nope. Because he has to have him there to sign away his rights. An unconditional surrender has to have a nation who is unconditionally surrendering to sign the check.
Yep. So the search is on. Da 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 da. That's about it for interactions, so let's move on to the quirks. You can have at it.
Yeah. Let's start with our favorite overworrying grandpa, Vanya. He's an overworrying grandpa. He either assumes dad role or grandpa role with just about anybody he meets. And this includes strange children that he just met. Human children as well. And he will make you eat.
Always.
Yeah, he fusses over food, making sure everyone has something to eat. Because he knows what it's like to go hungry. It sucks! He's actually afraid of heights. Like, he doesn't like to fly. He likes having his feet on the ground, and anything over about 15 feet, he freezes up. Like, there's no parachuting for him. And, let's see. Vanya really can't sing. Now, this was because, at the time, every rusher that I was running into could sing like an angel. In particular in the low baritone notes. And I was like, you know what, okay. I don't think he'd be able to sing. He could hum. I don't think he'd be able to do operatic singing. But he can dance. The man can dance like the devil himself.
Until his knees.
Oh god, he's aging. And he's aging really fast compared to all the other nations, and that includes a lot of joint pain. His back and his knees do not allow him to dance like he used to. That doesn't mean he won't ignore the pain and just go right on for it. Go for gold, old man! Get it!
Boom!
Speaking of gold, his son, Tver, technically little brother, son, whatever you would like to call it in Italian terms. It is a city-state that he founded when he was still in the 1P world. And then he was killed by Muscovy, Russia. 600 years later, he pops back up, and Tver is hella bitter.
Yep.
Dad disappeared for 600 years. Where were you when I was struggling economically? You think delivering food at my doorstep is gonna fix anything? Psh, get the hell out of here. You actually saw a little bit of this for those of you who watched Chapter 0. That's one of the setups in the very beginning of the game. There is Vanya and Tver's strained relationship.
Yep. I won't talk about anything about that since...
Spoilers!
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still working on that. Sorry guys for making you wait, but it's really good!
Yes.
Maybe it was because of having to leave Tver behind and then kind of forgetting about him, but still having the hole in his heart where his son used to be. He used to regularly adopt human children. It never ended well.
Nope. Especially
The last one in particular, Ludislav, he got really sick and he died, and it made Vanya really, really sad. He stopped eating for a while. He stopped sleeping. He would sleepwalk in circles, singing to absolutely nobody. It was really, really sad. That's probably why he attached himself to Vulker so much. Because his Ludislav was blonde and blue-eyed, and here comes Vulker into his life, blonde and blue-eyed.
Yeah, since he never crossed, he never adopted the, pink that Siegfried did. Because, again, never fully crossed, never got the red hue.
Yeah, which actually might have helped him in the long run, because at the very least he can fit in better with, general humanity.
Yep, instead of Siegfried, who Volker says, your genetics are wrong.
Oh, Jesus.
That's literally how they met.
And then he took him down to his basement to do blood tests on him.
It's true.
Aside from that, Vanya is the one who coined the term Shangri-La for the 1P world. Because when he first crossed, he didn't remember ever living there. As the time goes on, 2Ps kind of are supposed to forget their time spent in the 1P world, because it kind of severs that attachment and makes them less likely to try and cross back over. It's kind of a protection for both sides. And considering what the 2P world looks like, you know, yellowed, brownish sky, the air smells like burnt tires, and the water has a metallic tang to it. Compared to that, the 1P world with its free-running water, water fountains, fish, fresh vegetables
Blue
and
sky.
fruit, and blue sky. It must have looked like heaven to him. So he called it Shangri-La. And that's partly why he's so protective of it, because he knows full well that if he liked it so much, so would somebody else from his world. And somebody else might not have the same sort of reaction to it and want to take it for themselves.
Which where the vow came in.
Yep. Moving on to Vulker. Oh, hot damn. Okay, this young kiddo here, we've already talked about his hallucinations and his delusions. He's also incredibly unpredictable.
He really is, good lord.
It's hard to tell sometimes what he'll do. Unless it involves a pretty set of legs, and then we all know exactly what he's going to do. He can play the accordion really well, at least.
He could play German marching songs on the accordion.
Yeah, both pre-war and post-war. He's also a very good wood carver, and he does trench art. These are pieces of etchings or metal carving using bullet shell casings. And that was actually what he used to propose to his now wife. Was a bullet shell casing that he had etched designs into. He's so Bavarian.
Second breakfast.
He is so Bavarian. He wants 12 children. He actually collects children's clothes, like tiny little lederhosen. And he has it all stored in one of his guest rooms. He owns a farm that he basically built back out of nothing, and he has a very distinct Bavarian German accent. As in, when he speaks German, it sounds incredibly Bavarian. And it kind of differentiates him from Vinnie, which is what he calls Ludwig. Ludwig has standard High German, and Vulker has Bavarian German. And sometimes it's very difficult for them to talk to each other, because Bavarian German sounds almost nothing like conventional German, at least to the outside ear. He also smells like a corpse, but we already covered that.
Yep.
Why? He limps sometimes. His not stuck on correctly leg will stiffen up sometimes with overuse or with bad weather. So he'll get stuck at the top of stairs or on ladders, or in the loft area of his barn. This is why you have to be patient, you silly boy. And then there's Vinnie.
Oh god, Vinnie!
Hey, Billy! Okay, he is the 2Ptalia attached to Vulker. I'm still to this day not entirely sure if Vinnie is just another one of Vulker's delusions. He learned English from America when America was going through his gangster phase.
So he talks like this, like you literally, there's a rule to him talking that if you can only understand what he's saying by speaking it out loud, that's Vinnie.
'Cause
So
when you look at the
weirdly
text,
said.
It's completely incomprehensible. He also talks to dead bodies. And he will stab cab drivers to steal their cabs to drive to work, while still talking to the bleeding body. He constantly forgets his meds, and he's completely crazy.
Yep.
He's probably a danger to the general public, and it's a good thing Vanya has not found out about him.
Yeah, his medications keep him from being stab happy, but he sometimes just wanders in on weird occasions.
He can also get you some very cheap cars. Just don't look in the trunk. Now we come to Alexander and his quirks.
Good enough.
Quote unquote. He's an excellent horseman, especially with showing horses in competitions. He's also spooked by sudden loud noises, things like pots tumbling from the cabinet or slammed doors.
Probably
I'm not-
fireworks.
And fireworks especially. I'm not sure if you guys have ever been to a Civil War reenactment, but those cannons are really loud. And he hasn't had time to really digest it. He's kind of in the same boat as Vulker. He hasn't quite learned how to compartmentalize it yet, so he's not entirely sure how to deal with it. He just drinks. And everybody in his staff are very quiet. I don't think they'd want to bring on his ire. He's really good with his hands. Growing plants, tending the soil. He's got a green thumb. He is really good at growing fruit, especially fruit trees. And he holds this, lords it over everybody else. His shades? He does have a pair of shades. They're tucked away in his pocket there, I think. He wears them because he hates his eyes. His eyes used to be gray. And when he crossed over, the first thing he noticed was that his eyes were bright red. He hates how he looks. There's a lot of self-loathing in this kid. And he wears his shades to cover it up so he doesn't have to look at his own eyes anymore. Now, Alex...
My Alex.
Yeah.
As in the one with Eggs. You all know Eggs, and Alex with his Daisy Dukes. He's actually involved in this world, too.
Makes a man go, wee woo!
Makes a man go,
He's the cousin that no one likes to talk about.
Yeah, basically I like to imagine him that he's the one who goes around and scavenges things in the wasteland, like one of those bikers that you see in dystopian films. This 'cause he fucking can. And he just pops by. He's more the country bumpkin than Alexander is, and he has his chicken, and he's like, yeah, it's Kick-Ass. That's his middle name, literally.
Are you serious?
Yeah?
You serious?
Yeah. His name's Eggs. Look at him. Pet him.
Oh my god, you put clothing on a chicken.
Yeah, look, I made this from my own jeans, and I bedazzled this, and he has a dog collar. It says Kick-Ass, so people know when they look at him, he's Kick-Ass.
Oh my god. Okay. What'd you find?
And that's how they do business. And just, Eggs is okay. Eggs is a lapdog. I'll talk more about that in another video with Dig. But yeah, Alex is involved. Alexander is aware of Eggs. I don't even know what he thinks of him, though.
Probably has tried to breed him several times with his own chickens.
Yep, because that kind is really fucking rare.
Yeah, it's also kind of hard to raise good livestock, so once he found out that this chicken was fertile, he kind of just loosed him into the hen house and let him take care of his own business. Hey, more chickens means more chicken dinners.
Yep.
And eggs are actually really, really good food and very versatile food, so he likes scrambled eggs in the morning, and he doesn't really care if they're black.
Yep. Probably freaks out other people, though, and he's like, no, it's okay.
He's a rare, exotic kind of egg. On the other hand, though, it's kind of nice that he actually has someone who will tolerate him within his own family, because Mac doesn't want to deal with him.
Oliver's fucking weird.
Oliver wants grandkids out of him. And he's just like, please no.
Oliver wants grandkids out of both of them. And Matt's like, no, I'm going to my room. And off he goes.
You are always in your room.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if you got out a couple more times, you might have a little more color in your cheeks.
Nah. Yeah, Matt's essentially the same as the one I know. He's just like, nah, I'm not fucking dealing with this. Fuck it. He's basically isolationist at this point.
Yeah, he's isolationist, which means he's survived pretty well on his own, but he still trades regularly with his brother, and his brother will use water rights to get his way with him.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
But he does what he can to just kind of stick it to Alex sometimes, when he's able to.
Yeah.